Tell me, there is no top manager that's going to want to come on to Chelsea right now and talk about this job, because you never know. You have absolutely zero idea what's happening. We need a manager. We don't need a coach. We've been successful in the past years because we had managers. We had managers that we come in and manage everything. Manage what happens on the pitch and what happens outside the pitch. A manager that's going to be like, this is my football club and I'm going to manage everything. That's got to do with it. They're not going to do that. They're going to allow, they will never in million years allow that to happen. So what we're going to get is another yes man. That's what we're going to get. And Antonio Riola, for me, I'm not saying he's a yes man, but he's a guy that doesn't want to get involved with who comes in and who goes out. He just wants to get on with what happens on the football pitch, which is coaching. They will sign the players and he's going to coach the players. I think for me, Fabregas is too early for Fabregas. For me, I like, listen, we can all hear, we can all hear the success he's having with Como in Italy, in the Italian league. Yeah, but for me, I just think it's a bit too early for him. I think give him a couple of more seasons, you know, for him to establish himself a bit more, gain a bit more experience.
Felipe Luis, yes or no? Would you get on board with him?
Has he coached in the Premier League? No.
No.
Has he coached in Europe? No. Do I think he has the potential to be a good manager? We all saw how his team played in the Club World Cup. Some absolutely fantastic football we saw they play. The style of play, the way they played, playing on the front foot, creating chances, having control of the game, playing with purpose, going forward to create chances, to score, not just passing the ball around. They had an objective of how they wanted to play. There was a philosophy of how he wanted the team to play.
Structure.
That's how there was a structure. That's how you can tell. That's how you can know somebody who can become a top manager. Maybe he doesn't have the experience right now, but from the job that he's done with Flamengo, the way we've seen his team play, yes, there is something to be excited about. Yes, you can see the way his team plays. There is something that can get you off your seat. There's an expectancy of what.
The person I would go for would be Xabi Alonso.
Okay.
I think, just from the career he's had as a player, all the massive clubs he's played for, he's managed Real Madrid as well. He was forced out by the Real Madrid dressing room. That is a different level of dressing room, even to Chelsea's. And I think he would immediately command the respect of the Chelsea players. And tactically, I think he'd be brilliant. So he'd get my vote, but there are lots of other really good managers potentially available this summer. Interesting what happens with Disasi, because if Chelsea are looking for more experienced players with Premier League experience, surely Disasi bring him back into the fold.
Yeah.
And you've got Levi Colwill coming back as well.
Yeah.
He's playing for the under-21s at the moment.
So many players. There's so many players. This is the problem you got, innit?
Yeah.
It's like
contenders. I'm going to stick my neck out. If they get the right manager this summer and they make the right signings, 3 or 4 experienced, wiser heads, somebody like a Thiago Silva at the back, Levi Colwill will be back. Nicholas Jackson is coming back from Bayern Munich. Who knows? He may get another chance. Couple of signings, not having to worry about the Champions League. I think Chelsea could have a much better season. Look at the fans is that Chelsea will sign players this summer, and they won't just be young players. I think we're going to see a tweak in their transfer strategy. They're going to sign more experienced players, players with Premier League experience. To be fair to them, they have tried to sign older, more experienced players before. This is, it's not breaking news. We've discussed this before. For instance, they were exploring the possibility of signing Virgil van Dijk from Liverpool before he signed his new contract. I think Mo Salah was a possibility as well before he signed his new Liverpool contract. So they haven't just been focusing on signing 20-year-old players.
Sure.
This summer, there will be more experienced players coming in. Will the new manager have the final say? No, he won't. He will be involved in the discussions and the targeting of players, but he's not going to be Sir Alex Ferguson. He's not going to have total control of the club.
The ownership.
Recruitment, Sam Jewell, recruitment. They've got Dave Fallows, who's come in from Liverpool as well. So I would say those are the 5 key people who report into Bedard Iqbali, but I think ultimately it's Mr. Iqbali who is the most powerful person at the club at the moment. But of course, all major decisions have to go through the Chelsea board as well.
Yeah. Hear about Clear Lake Capital, Todd Bowley. Carl, can you sum up for people listening? How does the sort of day-to-day running of the club take place? Who's in charge? Who's running the ship there? Who's steering that thing?
I think at the moment, the person who's effectively in charge is Bedard Iqbali, who's the co-owner. He is sort of the person you see most often at games in the owner's box at the moment. He's a sort of driving force behind the running of the club. But day to day, it's down to the co-sporting directors, Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart. They've got Joe Shields there.
There seems it's fair to say a lot of cooks there, isn't there, really, at the moment at Chelsea behind the scenes, albeit, they have had some success recently. And, football's like, you go through a bad patch and all of a sudden fans start getting worried and you forget, like you said, right at the start, the Club World Champions not so long ago. They're in an FA Cup final as well. And they're not in the worst position in the world when it comes to the Premier League. But Sam, we've seen fans protesting at Stamford Bridge against Blueco ahead of the Manchester United game a few weeks ago. They've announced the biggest pre-tax loss in Premier League history. They've got no manager, as we've been talking about. Any positives at the moment that we can take from the current running of Chelsea Football Club that Carve's just outlined?
What a question. I mean, they have won some trophies recently.
Yeah.
Trophies are what football is all about.
Yeah.
Take it from someone who hasn't seen their team lift a trophy for 30 years. Trophies are what it's all about. So you can't take that away from them. I know, obviously, plenty of people don't think the Club World Cup is worth too much. I'm not particularly on board with it becoming any kind of like major trophy, but they won it, right? That's more than most people do. The other positives are that some of the transfers look like really good business and they look like building blocks for a very good team. They just need to get more of it right, spend the money a little bit more wisely. But if you've put together half a team of, I think Moises Caicedo is fantastic. Cole Palmer, obviously brilliant. Esteval could become one of the best wingers in world football. He is phenomenal. I think João Pedro is brilliant. These are building block players. And so while obviously the business has understandably got a lot of scrutiny, taking a lot of flack in some quarters, they have got some of it right. And when you have a lot of money to spend, you can afford to get a few things wrong en route to getting the right pieces in place. So if you add those players to Levi Colwill, Reece James, there's some really good academy players. Chelsea never feel like they're that far away from putting it together. They never feel like they're more than, 3 or 4 players away from something that could look really special. They just haven't made that leap in the last 3 years. I don't really understand why, but they haven't done it. But it's not like they're a million miles off.
Corby, there's a chance they'll miss out on Europe this season. Of course, they could well still qualify. They've, like we say, FA Cup final, Premier League position, and so on. But they're already posting record losses, as we've said. If they were to miss out on European football, what could that cost them in the transfer market? Would that affect their approach, do you think?
Certainly, I think it would. I think financially they'd probably lose at least £80 million from not being in the Champions League next season. Their next set of accounts, I think, will be better than the last set because they'll have the bulk of the money from the Club World Cup last summer. I think they got about £87 million from winning that. They will also have £80 million from playing in the Champions League this season. So their next set of accounts will look better. But obviously, missing out on the Champions League is a massive blow. And it will have an effect on the future of some of the players at the club who may want to leave, like Enzo Fernandez. Does he really want to play in the Conference League again? Especially if Argentina win the World Cup again this summer. Does he want to go from a World Cup final to the Conference League? Having said that, players like Enzo Fernandez don't normally play for Chelsea in the Conference League. And of course, it would affect the kind of player they could sign as well. But I agree with Sam, the point he makes about Chelsea being 3 or 4 players away from being real contenders. I'm going to stick my neck out. If they get the right manager this summer and they make the right signings, You know, 3 or 4 experienced, wiser heads. Somebody like a Thiago Silva at the back. Levi Colwill will be back. Nicholas Jackson is coming back from Bayern Munich. Who knows? He may get another chance. Couple of signings, not having to worry about the Champions League. I think Chelsea could have a much better season